You don't think you need books, do you? You don't think you need to do bookkeeping and you're an entrepreneur, huh? Hey there, my name's Kenneth French with vastsolutionsgroup.com. We've given you the key to the vault here, the Vast Vault, where we're unlocking some business secrets to help you. And this one, a lot of people think, I don't need books. I don't need to keep my books. You do. The IRS mandates it. If you're going to be an entrepreneur and have an entity, a company out there, even a sole prop, you have to have good books. Plus, how do you know what your rate of return is unless you have good books, right? You can be completely losing your shirt, but thinking, oh, you're doing great. Well, no, you need books. And by the way, also it makes paying your taxes easier. And who knows, maybe you can save some money and lower your taxes as a result. Anyway, why should you keep books besides that? Well, good books will help you to monitor, as I mentioned, kind of the progress of your business, prepare your financial statements, identify sources of income, keep track of all those pesky little deductible expense receipts, keep track of your basis in a property, prepare your tax returns, as I mentioned, and support items, reported on your tax return. By the way, who are we to be able to talk about books and bookkeeping? We have 3 bookkeepers at vastsolutionsgroup.com. We've been in business since 1969. We use an artificial intelligence system to help us with our bookkeeping, with our taxes, with our really, most importantly, running our business. So, I think we know a thing or two about books and bookkeeping and all. We have over 983 entrepreneur clients. We know what it's like to be an entrepreneur. We're all basically entrepreneurs here at vastsolutionsgroup.com. So we're helping you with this vault. What kind of record should you keep? Everyone asks that. Well, you may choose any record keeping system suited to your business that clearly shows your income and expenses. You can maybe, except for a few cases, the law does not require any special kind of records. However, the business you're in affects the type of records you need to keep for federal federal tax purposes. Now, by the way, this is supposed to be bookkeeping 101, but I'm going to go over maybe a little bit more advanced stuff. Now we're talking about, how long should you keep the records? Now, the length of time you need to keep your records, the documents, it really depends on the action itself, the expense, or maybe even the document records. You must keep your records as long as needed to provide really proof of the income or deduction on your tax return. So some people say 7 years, some people say indefinitely. Really depends on the circumstance, but I would say at a minimum, no less than 7 years. Because if you're ever asked about your records or your tax returns, if you don't have, a receipt or, some type of a documentation, you're in trouble. Now, I got to be careful when I say you're in trouble. You could be in trouble. By the way, what I would say is go to your bookkeeper. They know your situation. Go to your CPA. Go to your tax provider. They know their situation. But if you need help, please feel free that you can come out, reach out to us. Again, we have 3 bookkeepers. We're growing so quickly. I'm sure we're going to have more when you're listening to this episode. At the same time, we do kind of advanced and really sophisticated bookkeeping strategies that really legal, by the way, that I think might be able to help you as a small business owner. So just, reach out to us on the web at vastsolutionsgroup.com. How should you record your business transactions and, your purchases, sales, payroll, and other transactions you have in your business? They generate supporting documents. These documents contain the information you need to record in your books. I'm going to give an example. Let's just say you have you have an LLC. You have to have a checking account or an ATM or some type of a business account connected to that LLC, as an example. Same thing for an S Corp, same thing for a C Corp, even a sole prop. So if you do an activity for that company, for that entity, for that sole prop, as an example, use the same credit card for each entity, for each endeavor. It'll make life so much easier for you. I can't even tell you. You still probably will need a bookkeeper, but it will help you tremendously. Plus, the bank, if let's just say you don't have the receipt, you can pull up the receipt for that specific transaction. It'll be, let's say, at the bank of, wherever your LLC, as an example, is, versus, if you're using, one credit card here, a personal here, a business card here. It's just much more clean for bookkeeping purposes and tax purposes, etc. If you do an act for an endeavor, you keep the receipt, and more importantly, you make the transaction on that dedicated credit card or that dedicated ATM card. Now, by the way, what is the burden of proof? Again, this is bookkeeping 101, but it's important to know this. The responsibility to substantiate entries deductions, and statements made on your tax return is known as the burden of proof. You must be able to provide certain elements of expenses to deduct them. Otherwise, potentially, they can be challenged and you can lose a deduction. Okay. Now, let's go into this one. People are asking this one. Just 2 weeks ago, someone asked, or I think it was 2 weeks ago, someone asked me, how long should I keep my employment tax records? Well, at a minimum, 4 years, but really we say 7 years, because man, you will be so much better prepared. If someone comes knocking on your door, you need an employment tax record from whatever 6 years ago, whatever the case is, it'll be in your records. And I would even, in some cases, I would even say longer term than that, as a matter of fact. Anyway, hopefully this is a little bit of a help in learning a little bit about bookkeeping 101, what to do when it's relative to your books. But what I would say is talk to your bookkeeper, talk to your CPA, talk to your tax provider, or if you need some help for whatever reason, we are here at vastsolutionsgroup.com. Once again, Kenneth French, and I'm out.